just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Wednesday Week. I'm Stevie Spence, and this evening I'm going to be your host as we break down 2/3 of the game that was at Blackburn Rovers this week. We'll be diving into the usual irreverent nonsense that is around our takeover, whether or not that's going to be going on, taking place, and where we are with that. We'll also be looking at everything that's happened in the last 7 days of the Wednesday week and of Sheffield Wednesday FC. Now, for the regular viewers amongst us, you'll be aware that I am not normally hosting. I'm normally sat where Charlie is on the screen. We normally have Dan Fudge, but Dan is on assignment. Ashley's busying himself making relationships with the club, as we'll get to in no doubt. So I've brought myself a merry bunch of boys and girls who are faces old, new, and familiar to the podcast. So it's a bit of an eclectic panel this evening, but I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with it. So first of all, we've got Charlie. How are you doing, Charlie?
Not too bad. All good. It was nice not to lose at the weekend. I think it should rain every weekend, frankly. We're praying for rain from now on. Yeah.
We are unbeaten in 5 days. It's absolutely brilliant news, isn't it? Get in.
Yeah.
Trees
Can't
up.
lose if
When do
you
you
don't
get your tree up? When do your tree go up?
My tree goes up on the 1st of December.
Every year?
Every year. 1st of December.
Yeah.
But it has to come
I'm
down
not
on
second,
12th night because my husband's Catholic. So he's like, it's not really, but he's like, you've got to do it. Like, it's like deeply ingrained. He's like, if the decks are not down by 12th night, whatever it is, he's like, listen. Whoa. So yeah.
It's always really sad that you take them down, isn't it?
Like, I know, I hate it.
It doesn't
Your
feel
house
as
looks
cool.
too good.
It doesn't look very. It looks empty. It's not very cozy. I don't like it.
No.
That's it.
No.
Anyway, Blair's back, so I'm not going to bother introducing him because he's just talked over the top of Charlie. Blair, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm waterlogged as well with the amount of Belgian blue I sank on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, absolutely still stinking. So
Made a bit of a weekend of it, have you?
Yeah, it was my Christmas do / only time I get to go out for the whole year. So yeah. Enjoyed it.
Got to pass.
Yeah.
And I am delighted. Some of you may recognise the face. You'll definitely know the work of the man. But I'm delighted that get me directions, me pointing right up there in that there corner. We are welcoming on his Wednesday week debut. We've got Tom Burton of Mr. Meadows fame. Tom, how are you?
Evening all. I don't know if I'm off the sub bench, off the reserve list, free agent signing, scratching around for players mid-December. So yeah, but pleasure, and it's a long time support of the pod. So to be asked to come live from Mr. Meadows HQ on a Monday night is a pleasure.
Well, that's a proper streamer's background you've got there, Tom, isn't it? You're ready. You set up.
Yeah, I can't swear. But my wife's got a word for it all. But yeah,
yeah, she doesn't know. What do women know about football?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, God, it's like Dan's never left.
Here I am. I'm here to bring all your controversial views and opinions in the absence of Dan Fudge. He's channeling. I'm channeling myself through him, so we'll get the controversial views and opinions this evening, no doubt, and I'll try
Talk
not
sports,
to get
Fudge.
Talk sports, Dan Fudge.
Yeah.
As we always do at the start of the show, if you're watching us on YouTube, do please give us a like and subscribe on the channel. Ring that bell. We know what that's all about. If you can give us likes on social media and give us a follow, it helps to grow the brand. It helps to sort our algorithm out, makes us sort of further up in terms of people's listings. So anyway, now that I've got that awkward little nonsense out of the way, let's get into it. Blackburn Rovers. So we set off on the across the Pennines on a windy and wet weekend, going over to Blackburn. put the lineup in a moment, but first and foremost, Pierce Charles was back. Blair, what did you make of Pierce Charles coming back into the starting 11?
It was like the little bit of good news on Twitter. It made me laugh because like you'd think it was like Messi was coming back into the team. It's like it's a goalkeeper. Like it weren't going to make much of a difference. But yeah, very very happy to see him back, and it's actually good to I've got a sellable asset for next month just in case we might need to sell someone.
I think it was Pedersen getting put on the spot Thursday on the pre-match interviews, and one of the reporters, local journo, said, "What's the sort of timeline for Pierce Charles coming back into the lineup?" And Pedersen went, bit of 48 hours, like
yeah.
How did you feel about seeing him, Tom? Were you happy to see him back in the lineup? Do you think it was?
I mean, I think Orvath's been, well, let's just say is being Orvath. I think that's about as much as you can say. Is the choice of Cardiff's fourth string or whatever it is for a reason. Done a job in parts, but yeah, I mean, Pierce Charles, fingers crossed, he gets back to where he was, but it's, just to have a player of his caliber back, I think, gives us a little bit of hope, doesn't it? Nothing else.
We've got a great little graphic that I've just put up of Pierce in the warm-up, Charlie, and it was what you can see is he's controlling the ball with his foot, and I know that sounds ridiculous. We're going through things. The reason that it's up there, and the reason it caught my eye, is one of the things that I think we've missed without him being in the lineup and having Horvath, and due respect to Lumley as well. We've missed that sort of assuredness at the back, and this is a guy who technically we've talked about it. He's come through the system at Manchester City. How do you think the back line would have been with him behind them? Do you think they'd have felt it from the off? They'd have been more comfortable going out there with knowing that they've got Charles behind them?
I think there's probably a lot to be said for that, isn't there? Because, your keeper being your last line of defence there, if you can't trust, buttered gloves behind you, then I do think it affects the confidence of your defence. And equally, his passing's better than half our players, just like he's fantastic. Like it makes a massive difference. And I also think, from an opposition point of view, if you know that an opposition team's got a dodgy goalkeeper, you're going to think, oh, bugger it, I'll take any shot. Do you know what I mean? You're way more likely to just have a punt. And 9 times out of 10, we've been conceding goals because teams have just gone, let's have a punt. Whereas if you know you've got a bit of a tricky keeper, it might make you just think twice. So, yeah, it's great. And it's got to be a great boost for morale as well, because ideally, you wouldn't really be on your emergency loan goalkeeper. It's not a great situation morally, like from morally, it's not immoral. From a morale perspective, it's a concern. So yeah, great to see him back, and nice to see him looking fit and healthy. Hopefully we don't break him again. I don't know.
I don't think
absolutely
injury was it? So you never quite know how broken he actually was, because they never said, oh, it's this or it's that. So
no.
Yeah, I think you're right, Charles. Let's not break him.
I think there was surgery on the shoulder, wasn't there? They didn't specify what it exactly was, but that injury, anything in and around your shoulder, particularly for a goalkeeper or a sports person, it's a very narrow, and I'm going to sound really geeky now, it's a very narrow socket. You can tell I'm an anatomy and physiologist, can't you? It's very shallow in the shoulder, and you've got lots of muscle groups around there. So as a guy who's probably still developing, and at that point, it's really important we look after it. So I think it's important we've got to manage him back into the games, manage him back into the situation. It was interesting that he played against Stocksbridge midweek last week, didn't he? But when it went to penalties, they put the other fella on because they didn't want him diving about. So it was almost like they were protecting him a little bit. So I don't think anybody can say for certain that he's going to be back to full fitness, but we are where we are with it. And he was back in, and as a person who was there, although I'd had a couple of beers, a person who was there on Saturday, just the gameplay in general was, it was a different level. Players weren't afraid to play the ball back to him, and in difficult conditions, which we'll get onto. And he was able to do that, passing the ball out from the back. He was able to pick that. And I said this to my friend at the time that I was with. When I first started watching Pierce Charles, it looked like he was shanking the ball at times, and he was misplacing passes, because you'd expect a goalkeeper to loft the ball into midfield and to get the ball off the ground. But he has no concerns whatsoever. He doesn't worry once about, just opening up his foot and driving a side-footed pass 45 yards down the pitch to a midfielder. And whilst it looks like he shouldn't be doing it technically, a goalkeeper shouldn't be doing those things. He's not pinging it. He's not drilling it. He's literally side-foot passing the ball out, and he can play left and right, which, it's a testament to the ability that the young fella's got.
It's just a shame the players is passing to Stevie aren't very good.
Well, we know where we are in terms of what we've got, and there's only so much we can deal with it, isn't there? I'm going to put the lineup up. We'll go through it. It's a slightly different, as well as Charles being in. Liam Cooper came back in for his, I believe, second start for Sheffield Wednesday. So we had very similar sort of formation on the surface as what we had against Preston, with Charles in goal for Shearer, Palmer, Cooper and Mass, Valerie, Ingleson, Bannon and Lowe, McNeil and Kadamatri. Happy with that lineup, Charlie?
Yeah. I mean, we say this every week and it gets boring, but you've got so little option, haven't you? It's like, ever so slight change or ever so slight little tweaks. But no, it was good. I think it's nice to see Cooper getting more stuck in. It's very easy for us to be like, oh, he looks quite good. Does he look good? Maybe. Or do we just look really crap and he's just a different person that we hadn't seen till like a few games recently? We're like, oh, he's ever so good. But yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, he can kind of do no wrong. It's a bit like Pierce Charles coming back and it's like, what are you going to do? Concede loads of goals? Well, yeah. That's fine. What are you going to do? Be a bit crap at football? Yeah, that's fine. You'll fit right in. I'm happy to see Ugbo not starting, frankly. I think it's nice for Cads to get a bit more time starting. I was quite happy. I wasn't unhappy. I was as happy as I could be.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't have done anything particularly that different myself. So it's, yeah.
Who else can he pick though? I mean, look at the Stockbridge game, Stevie. What do you thought? Like Jarvis Thornton's impressed again for the under-21s. He looked good in the early cup runs against Leeds and Bolton and stuff. Why do you think he's not getting a game in first team? Because he played Weaver and he's played George Brown. I mean, why is he not suddenly backing his youngsters again anymore? What do you think? Do you think they're just not good enough? Oh, what?
I think that there's got to be that argument that he knows who he wants to play. He's got to trust the players. He's got a duty of care, and I've spoken about this, on a number of occasions. If he's not seeing something with them, then he's not going to put them in, is he? And the problem is that it is a hell of a step up, whatever you want to say. It's a hell of a rise from playing what they were playing, relatively 6 months ago to where they are now, expecting them to go straight back in. Goes to show, I suppose, the flip side to that argument would be, you look at Weaver, you look at Brown, you look at those players that have come in. They're a step above. If Thornton's not getting in, I'd argue it's because they've not necessarily seen enough of him. I don't know why, because the cup games, I think he's played quite well. Will he get his chance? I think he could very well do okay. But yeah, we'll. It's one of those where we'll watch what happens over the next sort of month, 6 weeks, 8 months. The January transfer window is going to be telling. We'll see where we are in terms of whether or not we can bring some players in. I know we won't be able to pay fees for them, but if we can get people to bolster the squad, will those youngsters that have been filling the bench still be around the place in 2 months' time? So it's that's something that we need to keep an eye on, really, isn't it? Of the Preston game, or the team that played against Preston, Otterbayos dropped out with Cooper coming in. Tom, Otterbayos did all right against Preston. I'm not normally one of his biggest fans, but I thought he acquitted himself quite well. Do you think
me likewise, Stevie. I'm not 100% sold on Otterbayos yet, which is tough because he's his homegrown product, so you don't want to be too down on. But I think he has sort of dropped the ball a little bit when he's had the chance. I'm a bit like with Chaz here, with Cooper coming in. Is he good? Is he bad? We don't quite know yet. Is he fit? Is he not? We don't quite know yet. And you do get you do get a number of Leeds fans casting aspersions against him whenever you speak to a Leeds fan. So you don't quite know what we've got here. But he's got a solid old head on his shoulders, and I think when it's raining cats and dogs over in Blackburn, I think a game like that cried out for it. But yeah, I mean, I think I think he's going to be interesting over the next Christmas period, next period over Christmas with Cooper, just to see how fit he is, because, there's a lot of minutes to go through. And does he have the minutes in the legs or legs in the minutes? We'll see, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go any further, I'm getting absolutely rinsed here for my mic. I don't know if that in the comments I'm getting absolutely hammered, and it would only happen on the night that I'm hosting. So we're working at it. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if I've just had
a bit dot dash, Stevie.
Hopefully,
it's a little bit dot dash.
Dot dash.
Yeah.
Are we still there? We're still on dot dash.
It's a little bit, just a touch. It's all right for a bit, and then it goes off just a little bit.
Yeah, it's like very intermittent. It's hard to like diagnose, to be honest.
Fantastic. Right, thumbs down. Right, Charlie.
Yeah.
Nothing like live podcasting. I'm going to drop out and see if I can come back in. Can you just give us a little bit of a chat around what you were expecting in terms of Blackburn? I'm putting you on the spot. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Go on, Charlie. Go on.
Waffle queen. Time for waffle. I was not particularly optimistic in terms of us getting a massive result, and it sounds a bit like I'm trying to like Mystic Meg it and suggest that I was almost predicting that the weather would call it off. But genuinely, we know whenever you start getting weather reports and like other games being postponed and stuff like that, I just always think, I'm always just a little bit cautious. I do think it is unbelievable that a game I know we'll come to that in a bit, but a game getting called off like halfway through is like, or just like 2/3 of the way through is absolutely ridiculous in this day and age.
And twice.
Either it's too wet and twice. Either it's too wet or in, like, you absolutely know, don't you? Like at that point, like it's absolutely crazy. But I think we are starting to get a few goals. So I was a bit like, we might score a goal and we might go early, but ultimately you just look at what they'd be able to bring on compared to us, and there's so few teams now where I think we'd get a result against. I actually think we've already had a few of those games like that where it's like, we actually could scab a result, because people don't actually have to be that good. They just have to be able to bring fresh legs on in second half. Thankfully, the rain was our best player, and and the rest is history. So
what a performance by Rain, by the way.
What Rain at the back post.
He was immaculate.
Let's give Rain an extended contract.
Can we sign Rain?
4 more years. 4 more years, Rain.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
So far, so good.
So far.
Thank God for that. I'm so sorry, guys. Dan's going to kill me.
Editing.
Right. So game incidents then. We were talking about expectations, things lead up going into the game. I can surmise what Charlie probably talked about. And what I will say is that there wasn't a great deal going on. If you look back at the highlights, you look at everything that was happening, I'll be honest with you, I was there and I was sort of taken by the lack of atmosphere at Blackburn. I don't think we sold out, which is quite unusual for us given the distance that we travelled. But what I would say is we got into onto the stand, we got into the away end at sort of 10-3, and you looked around and there were no Blackburn fans there anywhere. It was so quiet. It was, and I don't know if that contributed to a lack of atmosphere. I don't know what it came across like on TV or how it sounded for those people that weren't necessarily at the game, but it just sounded a little bit anticlimactic. I don't know if anybody else got that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I had the wireless on. God, tell me age. I had the wireless on because I was, funny enough, fixing football shirts on Saturday afternoon, and it was, Ewood Park's. It's a miss. I've been a few times. I've been in that top tier, bottom tier, and normally the home support's not too bad. I mean, they've got ownership issues as we've had, and it's not the most visual of environments, but yeah, it just came across as really flat, and it's always difficult on Radio Sheffield. You don't quite get the full immersive experience, especially when you're trying to listen in on an FM frequency if you're not got DAB. But yeah, so it just seemed, it felt like two teams that kind of knew what they'd got on a wet December morning when everybody else has got better things to do. That's how it came across. That I've gone to the football, but I've had 4 hours of the missus in my ear telling me we should go Christmas shopping kind of match. Well,
the one thing I would say as well, Blackburn, they've been up and down. Valerian Ishmael's in there, isn't he? You just mentioned the ownership issues that they've had. They've only won 1 out of 9 games at home. so they weren't on the best of runs either. And it felt like that was the kind of game that that was playing out. I don't want to be negative or disrespectful to Blackburn, but I'll be honest, they were the worst side I've seen this season. And I know they will say, yeah, we were winning 1-0, blah, blah, blah. The weather conditions didn't help. We were struggling on Saturday. I don't think we were sort of pulling up any trees, but they were a poor side and we were underperforming by our relatively low standards. So going back and looking at the highlights, nothing happened for the first sort of half an hour. And then it fell to one of their players, Gardner Hickman, who pulled it wide of Piers Charles. At that point, was it the spark that you thought that they might go and sort of kick into the game? Apparently so, because on 33 minutes, Blair, they went 1-0 up. What were your views on the goal?
Oh, yeah, it was so easy, wasn't it? Unfortunately, but I think I can't really remember a goal this season where I've not thought that was too easy for them to score it past us. And it was also unfortunate, really, because, like we say, you can only say they've worked hard so many times. I mean, I feel sorry for you on this podcast this season, because every week it's the same. They've worked really hard. They've let in a sloppy goal. They've lost 1-0 again. And that's what it was looking like it was going to be again, because as soon as they concede, I've got zero confidence that they were going to even score. And unfortunately, how this season's going off, I don't even care anymore either. Which is like disheartening. I just want to get this to the summer. Hopefully, we've got a new owner. I don't care if it's got deep pockets. I just want it to be a decent football club to enjoy going to football again. Because at the moment, I'm not even doing that. And by it sounds it, Steve, was that the first time the away end this season started like dipping down in atmosphere? It's always been like quite a jubilant, buoyant place, isn't it, the away end at Wednesday? And was it the first time the atmosphere?
I think the atmosphere was fine, if I'm honest with you. It's just we weren't there in number like we have been. It wasn't bouncing, but we made a noise until they went 1-0 up, and then that was it. It felt very flat. It was very much, we can't see another way out of this, and you're looking down the line. It was interesting to see Bannon playing in that sort of advanced position again, wasn't it? And Jamal Lowe sitting a little bit deeper. It almost seems like we're not saying putting square pegs in square holes, because we're absolutely the opposite of doing that, aren't we? But we're finding a formula now to try and see if we can mix it up a little bit and do something different with that starting 11 that we've got, plus the 2-3 that we can try and bring off the bench. Did you guys feel that Bannon had any sort of developing influence on the game with that more advanced role?
I mean, I think it's I like this, the two and a bit games we've seen him play there. If you like a 10 or attacking midfield or centre, if you like a bit of football manager, I think it suits him. I do think it suits him, but I think the problem with that is that you lose what Bannon does in a 6 or a 7 position, where he's going to pick it up, he's going to look at it on the centre circle, find a player on the left, find a player on the right, and get us moving. So if he's a bit further up, you do kind of lose that. So we are where we are, aren't we? If you'd had Shea Charles behind him, we might have been a bit more confident. But if buts and maybes, so I do like him in that 10. Are we in a position where we're down anyway? Put Bannon in that 10, let him play up the front. Let him have a pop from 20 yards and see what happens. I think Blair's right, though. I mean, the problem is we go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, and you're scratching around, looking around to see what we're going to do and if we can get back into a game. So, soft goal to concede, though. I mean, Max Lowe loses his man, really, and he gets ahead. So, but I think Blair's right. You get 1-0 down and you're looking around where to come down. But Cad's had a good opportunity, really. Should have squared it to Lowe, where it might have been in.
Could have been a very different story, I think, if that goal had gone in. I think it is a confidence thing, and it's also like, it's a bit like Blair's saying, like, it is really repetitive, and it's like I will say, with the exception of the Derby game, I have been very forgiving of pretty much anything that's happened. Like, cue montage of me slagging players off now. I do think generally I've just been like, listen, it's like Bannon. Bannon's had a few rough games, but for the most part, we've always said, like, he plays at his worst when he feels like he has to mop up everyone else's shit. Like, when you see him running up and down all the time, when he can't relax into his own role because he's trying to wipe everyone else's ass, it's like he's gonna have a worse game. So it is tricky, and I think it is that confidence thing, because the players must go, oh no, we've gone a goal down. We all go, oh God, we've gone a goal down. So there is a bit of a feeling of like, oh, we know now that the best we might have hoped for is a bit of a draw, or the best we might have hoped for is that, and it's just, it's relentless. Like someone just put in the comments something on the lines of like, they're trying to be, they can't be at 100 for the whole 90 minutes, and it's true. Like they must be all run ragged all the time, and it's only going to get worse as the season goes on. But it's also it's entertainment, so it's really hard to be entertained by it. You know, and you're like, you know, your kid's nativity is going to be shit, but if you had to watch a nativity that was shit every week, twice a week, sometimes, eventually you'd be like, I hate these kids. Boo! I hate these kids. They're shit. And that's how it's got feeling. Like it's like my patience is running thin, and I feel bad, but. It's just the same old mistakes every time, and it's like, oh, they scored that goal, copy pasted from the, you know, the goal that we conceded last time, and it's poor. I don't know why Cads didn't pass though. That is really annoying because he did all the build up was great, and then he just sort of went, fuck, and it was like, why?
Well,
like
I mean, it kind of sticks in the
mud.
mud. It kind of sticks in the mud, and then it's a nice ball through, and then Lowe's screaming at him.
Yeah.
For a ball. But to be fair, would it have even got there on that pitch? I'm not sure would have done anyway.
Well, would have Lowe scored anyway if he got the ball. She's been prolific, hasn't he, in a Wednesday shirt?
Yeah, he was like, hey, you should have passed that to me so I could have put it wide. What's wrong with you?
Could have been postponed at 1-1.
Yeah, 60, we really would have been annoyed.
62nd minute comes, the referee blows his whistle, and he is looking at the ball, he's looking at the pitch. The rain keeps coming down. The heavens continue to sort of open. He delays the game. The tannoy comes over. 10 minutes going to be. They're going to take 10 minutes to see if they can do any work on it. And then they brought out.
Yeah, what can they do?
What are they going to do? Go around and stick some holes in it to try and get some
massive air dryer that's blowing.
Mop it up. What are they going to do?
They brought out.
Get the bog roll.
They brought out the super soakers. So they literally wheeled out, I think, 4 or 5 different super soakers that just went through the centre of the pitch. And I turned to my pal and said, not being funny, they're literally working the middle of the pitch. They didn't work either penalty area. They just went straight through the middle as if they were just focusing and concentrating on one spot.
One of those guys with them little forks come on and start just like tapping with that fork.
There were no forks. There were no forks to be seen. There was nothing going on. It was just these super soakers taking them to the side and then emptying them.
It's the complete opposite of the sat in the house with the house on fire meme, isn't it? It's like roller in the water when there's more water coming down. Everything's fine. Don't worry, it's fine.
It was literally that. I turned to my friend and I said, "I'm not being funny. They're using 4 super soakers to get rid of the rain on the pitch, but the rain coming down is just making it worse."
Give it 10 minutes while it was still raining.
It's still raining.
It's like, I wonder what this rain will do. Probably the same thing the other rain's done, I would imagine. Oh dear. I love that clip of the ref when he chucks the ball up and it lands. I was like, that's our season, that, innit? Just like,
and it was a comedy humour of the crowd because he did it like 3 or 4 times. The crowd was going, "Ray, Ray!"
Honestly, we knew it was coming.
Isn't it something like if they postpone it after 75 minutes, the game doesn't get replayed or something? Is that right? And so by postponing it 10 minutes earlier, he's done us a favour. We get to play it again.
I believe that is the case, and we'll come on to that. That's the next sort of thing I want to come into. If I'm honest with you, that is their 3rd abandonment in 15 months. So they had the game called off earlier in the season against Ipswich, and I think I'll stand corrected. I actually think that got called off a little bit later, but they've ended up playing the full game again. At the time, Blackburn were winning. I do believe that they were winning again, and then Ipswich scored an injury time,
95th minute
equaliser.
Yeah.
So Blackburn will feel a little bit aggrieved by that. But my understanding is there's no blame to be placed upon the groundsman there. He's well thought of. I think it was Alex that ran an article saying that he's been there for 40 odd years and people think quite highly of him. It's nothing to do with the rising tides of the river.
It rains a lot in Lancashire.
It was literally, it just rains a lot.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. Question for you, and I'm going to go around the room with it. Do Blackburn have a responsibility as a club to be better prepared for eventualities such as the one that they saw on Saturday, given that it's the 3rd time it's happened in 15 months? Are they going to learn from it? And again, this isn't us being critical of the club itself in terms of what they can and can't do in terms of ownership, but in terms of a plan, do they need to be better prepared for eventualities such as that? Because all jokes aside, if we're saying it rains a lot in Blackburn, then expect a lot of rain. So do we need to do better with it?
Well, you look at, like, they're having issues with their ownership, aren't they? The Venkies. We don't know how much money we've always seen it with that dickhead, but he put no money in infrastructure into Hillsborough. It's fallen apart. How much money has the Venkies put in? They've been there about 15 years, haven't the Venkies? They were there in the Premier League days, weren't they?
Yeah.
So you don't know just what little investment they've put into Ewood Park. Do they have a responsibility? Of course they do, because they don't want games postponed if they actually care about actually being a successful football club. But what can you do? I mean, how much drainage can you put into a really old stadium? Like, do they need to build a new stadium with better drainage? I don't know. And it's not cheap, is it?
Charlie, just a take on that question for you then. Jokes aside again, it was pissing it down, but it was pissing it down first half. Nobody went out there at half time and did a heap of work on the pitch. Should they have had people out at half time doing work, or was it too late by that point?
It's hard, isn't it? Because you do have a responsibility to a certain extent. You either blame the club or you blame God, don't you? Do you know what I mean? At a certain point, it's either the cloud's fault or the club's fault. But it weren't going to get any drier by half time. The conditions were already pretty dire by that point. The fact that we even then came out for what was it? You said 60 odd minutes. So what, 20 minutes then into this, it just, I think that's the worst bit of it, is it was it there wasn't much in it compared to how shit it was when they started to when he actually called it. It's tricky not to want to put a bit of blame there. I think as well, once is a mistake, or once is an error, once is a forgivable error. 3 times is crazy. By the 3rd time that you're having to postpone a match for the same reason, you have a problem, and it might not be an easy fix, but that's like saying, the stadium always does that, or people keep slipping downstairs, or they keep falling down things, or there's a trip hazard. At a certain point, it's like, yeah, it needs fixing. Do you know what I mean? It's like if the lights went out on your stadium every, 3 or 4 games, you'd be like, yeah, well, it needs sorting, doesn't it? And I think whatever the fix is, it ultimately does fall to the club. It's no one else's responsibility. People are paying money. They've paid money to travel. They've paid money to stay over. They've paid money for the game. It costs the club's money to travel and with the players and all that kind of stuff. In fact, hasn't it cost? Wasn't funds raised for that game? Have I read that correctly? I believe Alex Miller reported that fresh off the press. So it's that. It's not about being like, oh, bloody hell, Brentford, or blaming some poor sweet groundsman, but it's not our fault. It's not the players' fault. It's somebody's fault, isn't it? And or at least it's somebody's responsibility, even if it's nobody's fault. So I think it was ridiculous that it had to get to the point of a game being called off in the 60th minute. Is ridiculous. A championship level is ridiculous. 3 times is an absolute joke. So sooner or later, somebody's going to have to get some big forks out, or everybody grab a straw or something, because what you're going to do, you can't just keep looking up and seeing big grey clouds and going, I wonder if the game will go ahead today, because that's how it is for our club. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, it's no good.
We'll finish the Blackburn talk. Thank you for that, Charlie. We're going to finish the Blackburn talk with a couple of stats for you. Then we've managed to get up for posterity's sake. We can talk about the standard and level of performance that we were at on Saturday, but it does appear that Blackburn just had the metrics in terms of the possession, in terms of XG. Interestingly, similar sort of numbers of shots that we both had 3 shots. They had 2 on target to our 1, but we had more touches in the box than they did. But then if you look down a little bit further to look at, the distribution, the passes and so forth, it is a fairly even spread. I would suggest that this data set would sort of lend it towards the fact that we were looking at 2 poor sides. And if I were a Blackburn fan looking at that on Saturday, I'd be thinking, we're getting into Christmas now. We can't say anything. We know where we are. We know what our situation is, but we're getting into Christmas now. It's going to be a long old winter. I don't know what anybody else thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's You're right. I mean, it's same for every team that's played us this year. I mean, we've seen Coventry blow us out of the water, and we've seen a Preston scrape a 3-2, and I think every team that's played us are sort of banking on the 3 points until it gets the game, and then we put up a bit more of a fight than they're probably expecting, and then eventually we get rolled over. So I think a number of teams have got fans going, "Ooh, Wednesday get 1 or 2 in January, and the second fixture might not be as easy." But I won't be banking any mortgage payments on that happening. But I do think, looking at those stats, I mean, that's it. I mean, we got 60 minutes, 50 odd minutes of stats there, more touches the opposition's box. Well, I can't remember too much of that happening. So I do think though, if I were a Blackburn fan, I'd be concerned that we're playing Wednesday again in 3 or 4 weeks' time. Let's see what happens on a dry pitch. Well, a drier pitch maybe. We're not playing water polo.
A drier pitch in January. I mean, yeah.
Well. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going back to your earlier point about whose responsibilities. I mean, those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I think one comment said, where were we a couple of years ago when the Don burst its banks? And we've seen our pitch come February, and it's there's more sand on it than Blackpool. So than Blackpool front. So yeah, I think everybody can take a share in ownership. But yeah, it's I think with the charity case, aren't we? But you never know. I get a few more players in second half. These games where we've been turned over. Your QPRs, your Prestons, where we've not been far off, but we have been out of it. We might do better second half of the season.
Fair point. Right, I'm going to attempt to take these headphones off to see if my audio sounds any better. I'm just going to raw dog it, and I'm going to take some advert breaks.
Don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stop.
We're back. I'm headphoneless. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. I've no idea if I'm still crackling, but I'm going for it.
It's a great pair of ears, Steve. Great pair of ears.
It's why I wear a hat. It accentuates my ears. Okay, Harry Amass announced this morning that Harry Amass has made it as Player of the Month this season for November. Much.
Might as well give him January, February, March, June, April, May, June.
Do you know what? The reason I wanted to bring this forward rather than it be an AOB is because I think it opens up itself to a little bit of a conversation around how good he's been in relative terms to the other players. And the reason that I say that, and I'm going to come down to you, Tom, first, is if you look at the top 3, Harry Amass won it with an absolute landslide. So it's 82% was Harry Amass. Barry Bannon came second with 10%. Charlie McNeil turned up and scored 2 goals against Preston, and he got 3rd place with 6. So you do your maths. That's obviously it's bringing it up to the sort of 98% of the vote went to those 3 players. Does that mean, or does that indicate as to how good a month that Harry Amass has had?
I mean, we've slightly tweaked his position, haven't we? I'm not going to jump on all over it and say, yeah, I agree. But I also think he's had a couple of games where he has been a bit suspect. I mean, we've seen some choice defending. So this position tweak that Pedersen's done in the last month has definitely worked out better for him. Is he a shining star in a bucket of whatever? Possibly. But I do think he has been better this last month, and whether it's just been coached a little bit more or this sort of tweak of having somebody behind him or being a little bit more wide, a little bit more further up's helped him. Yeah, I think it could be a combination of all of it. But I mean, he's a talent, is the lad. So, quite rightly he's been recognised. Can he do it, consistently being that young over the next sort of 4 weeks? That'll be a test, I think. He's played week in, week out. You could have, 2 games a week, 3 games a week over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Let's not ruin him. Fingers crossed. Let's not ruin him. But yeah, I agree. He's well deserved of it. But I think maybe it's worth noting to Pedersen that this slight formation tweaks, like position tweaks, actually helped him as much as it has, because he's not had to rely on his defensive capability as much, which I think has been found wanting in some games.
I think Man United are really happy with it, how it's going, and they're considering sending some more lads down just to guarantee to play.
Send that minibus across the snake and let's split.
Just send your entire under 21s.
Yeah, you got any more of them? We've got a bus we can send.
So I'm sure. But for them, it's a win-win for them, isn't it? They're paying his full wage because he's getting more experience playing man's football rather than this under 21 stuff in the Premier League where they don't even tackle each other. For their development. And look, Man United either have a really good player on their hands, or they're selling for 10, 15 million in the summer. With just how insane the market is these days. So, and
that's always the gamble with a loan play. You do the development for another club, and they cash in, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's a nice positive story on the whole loans working out quite well. Like, I know we're shit, but he's playing well. It must feel really good for him. It's great that we can, because what we're doing to our young'uns is running them all into the ground and breaking them. But luckily, other people's young stars are getting some minutes in the legs and then getting really good. But it does almost raise like a weird sort of question of like, should more Premier League clubs kind of look for loan opportunities like that? I don't mean take advantage of clubs in shit, but there is a lot to be said. There is a lot to be said for recognizing like where young players can really fit in, because it's dead easy to be like, I mean, Charlie McNeil sort of came to us and played what did he play last season? Like a couple of cup games and then sort of nothing. And it was like, this is really pointless for everybody. He might as well have not played football from where he'd come from. Whereas with Harry Mass, it's like, he's actually genuine. He's going to play all the time. And who knows how good he is. Again, it's a little bit like the Cooper thing. He doesn't have to be that good to look great, but he is actually playing really, really well. And that's amazing for him. So it's quite nice to be part of that journey in a way for him when he eventually leaves and, like you said, goes on to play for England and definitely never plays for us again. But I don't know. It's quite nice.
Like looking back on, it's a bit like we've had a few of them. Like Jacob Murphy's a good example where he is now, and there's a few that we've had over the course. You cash your mind back to Kenwyn Jones and all of those that we had. So we have a track record, probably by more luck than good management, of actually developing some half decent loans. But then we've had some shockers as well. So yeah.
Yeah, we're like a middleman. We're like sort of a little footnote. But yeah, it's great, and it still makes me laugh because Bannon is probably second in almost every player of the month voting, a lot of the time. Because when in doubt, you're going to give it to the person that's giving 110% all the time, aren't you? What really makes me laugh is Charlie McNeil gets slagged all the time. By me as well, quite rightly, because I did nothing. Scores 2 goals, and everyone went, "Well, he is in fact the third best player at the club." But numerically, that is true. He scores 2 goals, and everyone's like, "I don't think anyone else has scored 2 goals." I think he's
not since Sugbo has anybody scored 2 goals in a game.
That's it.
He was fourth. Presumably, he was fourth. So, hooray! Well done, Charlie. That's awesome. Can I just say something completely irrelevant as well about Charlie McNeil? Nothing to do with anything. I think thanks to him scoring, I think I've inadvertently did a drug humour joke on Twitter and didn't mean to. Because I tweeted, because they tweeted Charlie all in caps when he scored, and I was like, "Oh, that's sick," because that's my name. So I'll have that as my new header on Twitter, and nearly 3,000 people liked it, and I was like, "It's not that funny." Turns out people thought I meant cocaine. So thanks to Charlie McNeil scoring 2 goals, I got a load of new followers of people who think I'm on the bag. So
you're pushing,
yeah. So that's good, isn't it? Thanks, Charlie. Third best player at the club.
This week's clip that is Charlie confessing that she's a druggie.
Yep.
Thanks, Sheffield Wednesday.
Brilliant. Right, we've got 15 minutes left. I'm going to move us on. Thanks for that chat, guys. Let's get into takeover. So it's very difficult, as Blair has said, to come into a podcast about Sheffield Wednesday and talk about the performances on the pitch without talking about the same or using the same old cliches. It's also very difficult to go another week and it'd be remiss of us not to give a little bit of the takeover chat some sort of attention. It came to pass start to middle of last week. Paul Stanley, one of the administrators, came out and suggested that we were in danger of not hitting the December the 5th deadline, and that we would actually roll over back in terms of getting that sort of takeover confirmed. As it stands tonight, Monday evening, 8th of December, we're 3 days beyond that. There's been no further information from a point of view in terms of solidifying what's happened. There have been a couple of other interested parties that have got together over the weekend, as has been reported by local and national press, that they're maybe looking at getting together and forming a second consortium, if you like, so that they can come together and put a bid in the region of 30 million, I believe it is, that's been reported to go onto the table. It's also believed that Mike Ashley is still in and around things. I just want to get your initial thoughts, and then I'm going to pull at it with a couple of questions. Blair, what do you make of the takeover as it stands, or the takeover talk as it stands at the moment? Literally a minute. Give me a minute. Then we're
a minute. It's the euphoria of Chansiri be going and being in administration is now left, hasn't it? And it's getting a bit like you hit that December the 5th deadline, you don't hear any news, and you kind of like going, oh, please, no one start dropping out. Please let there be something we don't know about. What people now they've started digging around and going, actually, it's not worth the investment. And you can't help but be negative because of Sheffield Wednesday past 25 years, especially the last 8 years. It's just like ingrained in us now to expect the worst and celebrate mundaneness as a victory, which we have done, supporting this top club. And I'm really, I don't know, I'm in the middle. I'm really optimistic because all I see is billionaire names. But then I think, if you're a billionaire, why haven't they picked one yet? Surely Chris Wigfield, as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, would know who he's going to pick because his heart will be in the sale as well. So you'd think, like, even if like 10 people come back, like if you sell your house and 10 people come knocking, you know who you're going to sell to before you pick the phone up and say, yeah, I know who I'm selling to before the deadline or whatever you set. And yeah, so when we pass the deadline, I'm a bit scared, to be honest. But I want to be really, really optimistic and I want to win League One next season with a super team of £50 million signings like the Birmingham did last season.
Well, I'm gonna just come across to you with a bit of a thread on that sort of element there. Then, are you concerned, or do you think we should be concerned that the deadline has been extended?
Yeah, I do, because
your name's not Tom.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
It's all right, bro. I were enjoying it. I were enjoying your take on it as well. Yeah, should we be concerned? Well, what are we on? 8th, the deadline of the 5th. If anybody's ever sold a house, a deadline means absolutely nothing in these kind of scenarios, does it? So, look, I'd rather us take the time and get the right bidder. These administrators are no fools, are they? Chris Wigfield, seems genuine enough and has got the club at heart, season ticket holder. So, I mean, what's in his interest to send us down the river without a paddle if he's not careful? So my feeling is, I'd rather us take the time. I'd rather us get it right. I'd rather us get the right owner, because let's not rush into Chansiri 2.0. That's the last thing we need. And to be in a scenario in another 5 years where we've had to replay the last 18 months, 2 years. I ain't got any air left anyway, so let's not be doing that to ourselves. So I'd rather us take a bit of time. I'd rather us get it right. Of course, it's mass frustrating, but hey, if I were in charge of Wednesday's social media account, I'd be dropping on December the 25th. So yeah, let's bide us time. Let's get it right, and let's all have a nice present for Christmas. But let's not get Chansiri 2.0 by rushing it.
Do they need a new owner in by January? Or does wages and that get paid for January? I know we've got enough money to get us into the new year, but is that a concern as well? Do we need someone in?
Well, we've been operating on that timeline, haven't we? And when we did the Your Wednesday with Chris Wigfield, he intimated, and I think he might have said it at the forum as well, that we were steady along until January. The administrators had hoped that they wouldn't still be around by January. My concerns when I have those conversations privately is that the likelihood is we may very well still be in administration come January, given what we're on now, the 8th of December. And if it takes to the end of this week, you're still going to have to do, the checks are still going to have to take place. I'm not sure that they'll be happening behind.
And I think that's a really good angle on this, Stevie, is that you not only have you got to find and do the due diligence from a sale perspective, the EFL and the football regulator are going to sign off on this, and they're going to take the time because they are not going to get something blow back on them saying who signed this off, football regulator this, football regulator that, EFL aren't gonna just give this the rubber stamp because we've got the first billionaire to pony up 50 million or whatever the asking price is. So I think there's going to be time in this, and it's not going to be all Wednesdays or the administrator's control. It's going to be a lot down to the EFL and the regulator because they're gonna want to make sure this is kosher.
Yeah, we just had a couple of comments in the chat there. Matt Richards has come on and sort of pointed out something that we were going to get to. The EFL fit and proper needs to happen first. We don't know how long that's going to take. Fair point. And then Rob Shirley's been on. That's not Rob Shirley. That's Matt Davey. Rob Shirley's been on. There's an AFL TV payment due in January. Again, who you listen to, I've heard similar things being said, that we might get through to January, but where we're going to be clawing away at money that we need to be thinking about as well, going into the rest of the second half of the season. Before I come to you, Charlie, the one thing I'd sort of want to sort of bear in mind is we're at that point now where over the last 4 or 5 years, it's been season ticket time. And I just want to give my take on that would be that, dare I say it, the worst thing that we could do at the moment is start peddling season tickets in December going into January. This is what we need, because I think whilst they would probably put a decent spin on it, and they would spin a yarn that would say we don't want you to worry, everything's in hand, blah blah blah. You're going to get that kickback from people that are thinking they're asking for season ticket money now because it's a cat, and it is. At the end of the day, that's why it's been done previously. Are we in a position where we can put out season ticket prices? Are we in a position where we can look at reducing the season ticket prices? The reality is, given the prices that we pay, they are extortionate. There's no getting around that. They are too expensive, and we're going to be playing third-tier football next season. So a price freeze isn't going to cut it, is it? We don't want to be in a situation where we're saying we're going to keep the prices as they are. Whoever comes in, I think they need to have a strong look at the pricing strategy for your match day experiences. I think that's been done really well in terms of admin at the moment with the packages that they do. The pie, the comfy seat, and the pint has been a great initiative. Those little bits with the packages that you can do on the 4-ticket bundle and so forth. You can see that people are thinking now. They just need to think a little bit blue sky when it comes to that season ticket situation. Ranted a bit there. Charlie, I'm going to ask you one more question on the, and I'm fully aware that you've got about 5 minutes left with us this evening, so don't panic too much. Reports are suggesting that there's a concern among certain potential investors that they're reluctant to give the former chairman a cut of the money, and that's one of the stumbling blocks. That's out there. People are starting to report on that. In terms of your head and heart stance on it, where do you stand on that issue?
I think it's unlikely, because I think if you're buying a football club off a former crackpot, you appreciate that the former crackpot who's put it into admin's going to get some of that money. Surely you would know that right from the start. I mean, again, this is so far out of my knowledge of anything. Like I don't own my own business. I have no concept of any of this, but as far as mine, it wouldn't suddenly come up now, surely, like in this stage in the proceedings where you'd be like, oh really, he would get some of that money? Oh, I'm not sure I morally agree with that. And I think also equally, if you're really serious about getting this business through, you're going to have known that, found that out at some point and processed it. Does that make sense? It feels like something that wouldn't put somebody off. It wouldn't even put me off if I suddenly randomly overnight became a billionaire and I knew that in acquiring my club from somebody that I hate, as it were, and I had, and he would get some money out of that, I'd be like, well, that's shit, but at least he'll be on his way. So personally, I don't think it matters. I'm not saying it's not true. I just think it's just so unlikely to put off any serious potential. Surely people understand how this works. Am I an idiot?
Yeah.
Like, is this?
I agree. They spend 30 million quid. They don't care where it goes.
Yeah,
they get what they want.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
If you buy your neighbour's house and you hate your neighbour and you're like, oh, my neighbour's gonna get money out of this. Oh, I really hate my neighbour. It's like, yeah, but you want the house, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I would hate for it to, if that to be the case, because it almost feels like the ghost of him still lingering around, screwing us over. But I'm inclined to just have a bit of faith in the whole thing. I think it's all been handled very professionally, and I think they're all being really transparent. It's like the December 5th thing. It wasn't like on December 5th, it was like, whoops, sorry, oh, it's going to be delayed. Like they comms that quite early on as well. Like they were like, oh, timeline's looking a bit different now. They've been really honest, but they've also been quite positive. And it would be insane for them to have been as positive they are if they knew deep down that everything was a bit diabolical. So I don't know. I'll worry when I'll worry, but I'm done. I'm so over being anxious about the future of the club. Like I do just think now it might be nice to just have a little bit of faith. Yeah. So, in conclusion, I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems mental that you would be worried about that if you already knew what you were getting yourself into. So,
any last takes? Super quick last takes on Takeover before we say goodbye to Charlie and move on. Here's your chance, Blair.
Here's my chance. Who would you, if a billionaire comes in with the biggest pockets going, hypothetically, like? Do you think who if there was a player out there you'd sign, who would it be?
Oh, you're never asking me that, are you? Is that really how you want this to end?
Well,
with me having to suddenly rack my brains of available transfers in January. I've no idea. I don't even need it to be a billionaire. I really don't. I get it. I get the wanting us to have humongous stacks of cash. Frankly, I will just settle for, it's like you said something earlier, Blair, about something like the idea of like a sense of normality, like just like a moderately well-run club is humongous. Like if the pitch could not flood and we're not run by an insane person, everything else is fine. And I'm not even really thinking about the January transfer window because this season is over and it's okay to say that. I think it's fine. I don't think it makes us miserable or really pessimistic to be like, this season's probably done, even if we all turn, if they turn into prime Barcelona by January and suddenly all become amazing. I think it's probably done mathematically almost at this point. So no, the bigger issue is what we do next season and the big rebuild, and that's what we should be focusing on.
And for me, Blair, I'm going to Uno reverse you, and I'm going to say I'll pay to send Ugbo back to Troy.
Right. For the benefit of those people that are watching, Charlie has advised me this morning that she's going to have to leave early tonight. As much as I love being on the screen with you and love being on the podcast with you, can we all jump in the comments and give a quick 30 seconds before she goes, say goodbye to Charlie. She is amazing. She's been absolutely fantastic tonight.
Hi,
I can really suggest that she's not a drug dealer. She's not into drugs.
No sell drugs.
And she said, importantly earlier, she said crack pot, not crack pipe.
Yeah,
I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah, please don't message me asking if I know where I get packet on a Friday night. I don't. It's just my name.
Seems to know the lingo, though, is a little bit concerning. Guys, we're going to take a quick break there, and then we're going to come back with a little bit. It'd be remiss of us not to do it. See you later, Charlie. We're going to have a little bit of Tom Burton shirt. Okay, so we've been trying for ages, and if you look at our stuff, you've looked at our content, you followed our channel for any sort of length of time, or you came to ours in the yard, you'll have seen this wonderful, fantastic, incredibly talented man that currently sits on screen with us tonight. He's looking around now as if to say, who's this? Tom is, for those people that weren't aware, Mr. Meadows. You'll have seen his socials. He's upped his game in recent months, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see. And the fact that you are part of or associated with the podcast, I know I speak on behalf of Dan and Ash when I say this. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend some money at your shop over the last few months. I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, just a few bits around shirt restoration. First and foremost, how did you get into it? So give us a quick sort of overview of your background in football, Shirtnam, Sheffield Wednesday, etc.
Bit of a potted history. So yeah, I mean, funny enough, it was this podcast, or around the time of this podcast, that it really started. I'll say escalating, for wanting a better word. I've had Wednesday shirts, like all of us had. I've had since we all started going. For me, my first games versus Tottenham in 1990. So I've had all of those shirts. The Umbros, the Pumas, the Puma Kings, and the back end of COVID, really. I became a father for the first time. So as your kids, Steve, you know this all too well. As your kids start getting older, you start indoctrinating them, don't you, in all things Wednesday. So last League One season, 22-23, my daughter was 2 at the time, and I got her the yellow away kit. And it just started me reminiscing, really. So I grabbed all these shirts out of the loft and started going back through and going, but I'm missing this, I'm missing that. I've not got this. I've got the home, not got the away. So I started filling the blanks in. And then fast forward for about a year on, I started figuring out, well, I quite like putting names and numbers on shirts. So I started, getting connected with loads of people on the interwebs, and as Dan says, and you get putting my own names on numbers on, and I was using the household iron, and broke that. So the missus went, "You're not doing that on our ironing board anymore. You can forget that game. Stay in the ironing board with a shirt colour come out." So I put it for an heat press off of Amazon, and then started, putting names and numbers back on shirts. Just found it mega fun. Just found it absolutely mega fun. So I was doing mine for about a year, putting names and numbers on shirts, and then I got too many shirts to the wall. I mean, you can see behind me, they're all over the shop. So my Mrs. Blesser said, you need to have a thin these shirts out. You've got 3 and 4 of the same ones, and you've got 6. 2009 away, whatever shirt it was with whoever on the back. So, I started selling on eBay, thought I'd get some money back in. And then I started getting asked, really, have you got me? Can you find me? Have you got this kit? Have you got that kit? And Luke from Wednesday Warehouse really gave us a bit of a nudge to say, you should do this, Tom. You should do this. You're not bad at it, And I'm like, I'm just messing about. I'm just messing about. So anyway, yeah, that was sort of 22, 23. So yeah, really middle of 23, after I'd kind of been on my Wednesday with you guys, that it started going mad. And then I just made loads of mistakes, ruined loads of shirts. In fact, I shipped them all to Holly because she wanted to do a bit of a project for the women's. So I sent the shirt graveyard, all of my my mishaps, to Holly. I don't know what she's doing with them. To do something with, because you have to learn. It's like any skill in any life. You've got to have a bit of a practice at it, really. So yeah, so that just escalated to buying my own printer and my own heat press and making name sets and sourcing templates and then getting them embroidered and all sorts of stuff, really.
How hard is it to source a template? Because I'm a novice, so I don't get. What I like about you, and I'll say this without being disrespectful to anybody else in terms of your drop shipping sites, but I can spot a DH gate from a fair distance, depending on the Puma logo or the owl or whatever else. And yet I can then go and spot a Tom Burton piece or a Mr. Meadows piece because the Puma looks right, the logo looks like it's in the right position, the press studs, etc., etc. How do you go about sourcing those templates?
So a lot of late nights on eBay is the answer for templates. I mean, funny enough, what I found out is that in the 90s, Steve, you're about the right age. Can you remember Blue Peter in the 90s? He used to do like appeals for Romanian orphanages and Ukrainian orphanages and send us your clothes. We've got the kids are freezing. We need. You have to save ring pulls off top of cans and all sorts of daft stuff you had to do at school, didn't you?
Yeah.
What I found out is that in the 90s, Umbro, Puma, and any UK shirt manufacturer got on board with that appeal and just shipped entire backs, dead stock of shirts to Eastern Europe. So there's a wealth of Eastern European. I'm giving trade secrets away, but there's a wealth of Eastern European countries that have got Sheffield Wednesday 1993 Puma shirts in abundance, which is absolutely mental when you think about it.
How many five-a-side teams do you have that there's a blank template on that?
It's madness. I mean, I got like a bag of 11 from UK in the other month, and it's just this guy like, I've got like loads of these. How many do you want? I'm like, how many you got? He said, I've got 15. I said, well, send them here. I'll have them. And he was the one that told me that, in the 90s, manufacturers were just getting on board with these appeals and banging all these shirts out to Ukraine, which is insane. So, but yeah, going back to your other point, Stevie. I mean, yeah, DHgate. It is what it is. I mean, on my Insta, I've tried to do a bit of compare and contrast. I mean, the hit and the miss DHgate, they do okay. They are what they are. For kids, it's a no-brainer, especially if your kids are into Real Madrid and, them sorts of teams where, shirts are £100 for a kid's kit. Yeah, it's absolutely eye-watering. So they are what they are. I mean, our Wednesday stuff with DHgate is some good, some bad.
Yeah. So if you get a shirt, how long does it take to restore typically? I know that sounds a bit of a daft question because the answer is going to be, it depends how bad the shirt is. But if you, as a labour of love, if you take one that you might want to get one of these templates across and you strip it back, typically how long would that take?
Yeah, I mean, I get some shockers. I get some absolutely shockers. I've got one somewhere that's, I don't know why in the 90s, what were it with mums and dads in the 90s that used to paint the house wearing a football shirt? I don't know what it is, but I get so many shirts that have got like gloss emulsion on. That like, can you do it with this, Tom? And I'm like, yeah, I'll try and fix it for you. So it just depends. Yeah, I mean, I get some cracking shirts that people have found a lot. I got one that just needed a bit of TLC, bit of sewing up. The green hooped one that just it had fallen apart. So that just needed a bit, off to the mother-in-law for a bit of seamstress work. So it just depends. I mean, if it's just a name set, a name and number, modern stuff, which is more like that vinyl print, dead easy. Can print that behind us now. Get that sorted in a week. But the flock stuff, sort of the Puma. 93 Puma, the Umbro stuff, that's a little bit long, so I'll make that on another machine. But about a week, 2 weeks, depending on what I've got on. In the summer, we're just madness because I just spent my entire summer doing black and gold shirts with Puma name sets on the back. So every other day, I'm cutting a Waddle or a Hurst or a Sheridan or a Nielsen for those DHgate black and gold numbers. So summer was fun.
Brilliant. How much business did you get out of hours in the yard?
I mean, I loved it. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that were a day and a half. Funny enough, I took my nephew and his girlfriend at the time, 16-year-old. So he's not his girlfriend now, but 16-year-old. And they said to me, they have never worked as hard in their life. Which, all right, we stood up for 8 hours, but we weren't hard work. I mean, we're not digging coal out, were we? Let's be fair. But that was the first time they'd ever done a day's work. But we were literally non-stop from, I don't know, the gates open at 11 or something like that till sort of 5, 6 o'clock. I think I had someone in the region of 40 shirts. I got ready for hours in the yard, and I think I came home with about half a dozen tops. I got absolutely smashed. Did a bit of a merch line. Some Mr. Meadows t-shirts, some bit of Mr. Meadows branding, got smashed on that as well. But I mean, what I love, and somebody just put in the comments about the book, that I'm going to try and plug, is that people want to tell you the stories. People have got amazing stories about football shirts, and they'll tell you them all the time. Oh, can I get you this shirt? Can I send this shirt? I've got this. And even on Instagram, they're like, oh, I've got that. I had that shirt when I was younger. That's ace, that shit. So it's just it's a visceral thing when you get talking to these people.
Real. I was in the yard, good, weren't it?
What a day. I mean,
I keep going to him. We're going to do it again.
I hope Mr. Fudge has got it in the diary and he's got it sorted because it was mint. It was mint anyway, but we needed it. We needed it so much, didn't we? In August, we were just looking down the barrel, weren't we? And no owls in the park, Chansiri doing Chansiri things, no manager. So we just went all to the Steelyard and got pissed for 8 hours. It was brilliant.
I mean, the VIP weren't bad, to be fair. Plug your book then for us. Last couple, plug your book for us. Explain what's going on there.
Yeah, so as I said, you get chatting to loads of Wednesdayites doing this, and football fans wider. I mean, even God forbid, I've had some Sheffield United shirts that I've sorted out. So you get chatting to people and you get talking about the football shirts. And you soon find out that there's some amazing stories that go along with it. So whether it's first shirts for your kids, your first shirt growing up, your dad's shirt, your granddad's shirt, the time you met your wife when you were stood in the queue at the owl shop, or there's just some amazing stories that go along with all this. So people want to tell you and talk to you about the shirts. So I thought, why don't we try and put these in the book? Why don't we try and tell the story of Sheffield Wednesday football shirts, not through any kind of highfalutin biography, time traveled sort of official history of Sheffield Wednesday. Let's try and tell it through fans, and try and tell it through the stories that connect fans to fans and fans to shirts, because not everybody wears football shirts, nobody collects football shirts, but they have a recognised connection to it when you talk to them about it. So, yeah, it's gonna be published hopefully around Easter. I'm about a third of what I want story wise. I need to get my finger out and do some editing and do a bit of proofreading so far, but I've sort of banked the first, 28 stories. I want to be sort of close to 100 if I can. Some are long, some are short. But if you do have a tale to tell about your football shirts, try and drop me an Instagram or drop me a message on X, and we can have a chat. But a chance just to tell your shirt story, why you love, like Blair's wearing a 1991 or a FA Cup keeper one-off Umbro shirt. It'd be great. So drop us an Instagram DM or an X DM, and we'll have a chat.
Brilliant. Two more manufacturing questions before we move on. I often think this: do you have a favoured kit manufacturer from history?
I'll have a drink of water, like I'm pausing for dramatic effect, but there's no doubt really. It's Umbro. I would love if Umbro came back to Sheffield Wednesday, which is mad really, because we've only realised Umbro twice in our two occasions in our shirt history. One early 80s, and then we had a break and we had a little bit of Bukta, and then we went back to Umbro late 80s. And then we only kept them till 93, 94 when we swapped to Puma King. So Puma King actually had more of a timeline with our shirts. I don't know, but those Umbro 92, 93 shirts, 91, 92 shirt, there's just something magical about them. So, bottle that and it's Umbro, but Puma's a close second. Elevate and Macron and Sondico can get in the bin for me, but it's choice of a former chairman. I've already got in trouble for saying his name once. Yeah.
What about Diodora? What are they like?
Do you know what? Actually, sleeper kits, Diodora, absolute sleeper kits, because at the time,
the navy
Diodora Chupa Chups, I'm not sure anybody really liked it. But actually that, and do you know what a random fact about that Diodora Chupa Chups, 2002, I think, there's a market in Malaysia that is absolutely insane for that shirt. I've got one customer in Malaysia that's like, anytime you get this in a small or medium, I'm having it for you, no matter what price. It's mad, but it's only that shirt. It's only that shirt. It's only in size of small to medium.
Because some great players wore it,
Do you know, it's mental. It's mental. But
Francis
actually, the away of that kit, that yellow and light blue Diodora, that's quite nice. But actually, our Lotto kits, we kept them for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They're underrated. They're sleeper as well. So there's a few, but Elevate, Sondico, Macron, apart from 22, 23, yeah.
Yeah, was Lotto? Did they have the black one with the white and blue stripe? And was that a Lotto?
Lotto. You'd got they went white stripe in the middle, which caused holy hell at the time, if I remember. But then they had
one of them was like a tent there. One of them was like a tent. One of the home kits got like a tent.
You got the white, the old white one with the little blue and black flashes, and you got the orange Akpo Sogil spring to mind.
Yeah.
So Lotto underrated, and actually Lotto kits from an historical point of view, I've had some absolute bangers. AC Milan Lotto kits, Udinese Lotto kits are absolutely fire. So that'd have been a nice one to keep.
Give us your, just to round this bit up, give us your review of this season's kits.
Horrendous.
Man alive,
Horrendous.
man alive. I mean, I know we've got his logo down the bottom, Old Goose Creative, Wild Goose. You know what? You know when you just think, just ring me and Leo, and we'll just sort the design out, no drama, and it'll sell.
Say his name, he appears.
As if by magic, you know, the creative genius that is Lee Wild Goose. I don't know, this whole clip art scenario.
It's bad.
Really
bad.
Is
The fact that our fans have spent so much money in that club shop since he went to buy these kits as well.
Yeah, I've bought them all and twice for and my own set and my daughter's set, and I'm not a lover. In fact, the home and the third are still in the packet. I just don't even take them out.
Yeah, that third kit. I mean,
that's slightly redeemed them. I don't mind that third kit, but God and Bennett, you know, I've got a massive ruler here. Just measure the owl and the thickness of your stripes and put it in the middle.
It's not hard,
honest to God, it's not difficult. So also it's a little bit rushed. It's a little bit plasticky, that owl. So there's loads I could have done. This season's kits, purple. Do you know what? Actually, that purple, I caned it online. I had some real choice words about it when it came online. In long sleeve, from a distance, it's not bad. And perversely, they wore the last season's shorts with it on Saturday, which I don't know. I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. I can't think if it's good or it's bad, but my word.
It's got what is it, like a pinky red trim, a black badge, purple word art. It's so like, what the fuck?
You know what it is? The best analogy, we again, dropping a few names, we went to Wednesday Warehouse and did a piece there, myself and Ash, and we were talking about shirts with Luke, and he went literally, when we were talking about the best and worst, those garish ones that people are up in arms about, you know, in 15, 20 years' time, they're going to be the ones that are really sought after.
Yeah. I think you're going to be right. I think that there's going to be a place in history for these free shirts. Where in the history, I'm not quite sure.
For lots of reasons.
But just cast your mind back to that pink Macron from 21, 22, I think it is. It's like hen's teeth. Trying to get hold of one of those now, and it may well be that purple, that pinky purple we've got as a away kit might end up being like that. I mean, I'm clutching, folks. I really am. I'm not sure. I mean,
I don't think it will. That pink kit was a good season as well, wasn't it? Barry Bannon scored one of the best goals of probably his career, maybe the best goal of his career in that shirt.
And actually, they use it as a third kit as well in that 22-23 campaign, and actually be the host and stay on it. It looks even better. So there's a place in history for these kits this year. I mean, the Wednesday kits,
charity show.
Well, yeah. But I do think my one hope for a new, and this is just me being a kit nerd. My one hope for a new owner is they sort out the kit manufacturer. I mean, Macron have been better, but Macron are better because we had Elevate beforehand. That's it. I hope. I don't want to go Adidas because they've got Adidas over the way of the other side of the city, so I don't want to be comparing to them. But I do, and please don't get K-Store because they're nothing more than a one up from an in-house manufacturer with a funny badge on. So let's not get K-Store. Let's just get Umbro.
I love it. I love an Umbro kit.
Have got. Let's have the stripes right. Let's have a nice Brazil yellow, light blue, and then have a bit of fun with a third kit.
I'm really interested.
It'd be like printing money. If we went to Umbro, it would be like printing money because all the Wednesday dads, all be straight down there and be like, I'll have it all. Just give me one of everything and I'll have it.
I'm really interested to see what happens with the badge officially. I know the admins changed it, to disassociate with Chansiri. It was an easy win, wasn't it? Is it how quick? Well, you probably don't know the answer to this. How soon do you need to give a manufacturer the answer of like what you want on the badge? Like, can they just do it overnight or
no? So I only know this randomly from a day job when I'm not fixing kits. I'm sorting apprentices out. That's what. So in 1 year, are having a bit of a conference at Old Trafford, and it was in November, and we couldn't get in the room because Man United were doing the photo shoot for next year's kit, so they were wearing the kit in November for the following August.
Right.
So it were made, it were a presentation standard, weren't a demo, weren't a concept. So I'm clutching to try and answer you, Blair. But so if we're in a similar timeline to Macron, we'd be figuring it out now what we want to order for August with lead time. So to answer your question, badge question mark, I don't know. But let's get the owl right. This little, and I do like the new stylized owl, but why they clipped the top of his neck off, I don't quite know. So yeah, lots of it. We could stay all night talking about owls and kits, but
We could stay all night.
I'll be getting the hook from Dan in a minute.
I'm hugely. Now listen, I'm hugely mindful that having spoken to Ash and Dan privately, that we've said that we're going to do a follow up to the My Wednesdays. We're going to do some shirt talk. We've probably done half of that podcast in the last 20 minutes. So I'm going to put it there. Just to let you know, once, if there's anything that we can do podcast-wise, Tom, in terms of or anything, just give us a nod in terms of the book and what have you, and we'll do what we can to help you there. But thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of an insight into what makes Mr. Meadows.
Very well.
We are at hour 22. I have got one piece of AOB. Unless anybody's got any other business, I'm going to move on to that.
Nothing, mate. Nothing.
Magic. Right. We are at the Wednesday week, honoured and buzzing and dead excited to be able to announce that we have coming up our latest venture, which is the Wednesday week in collaboration with Sheffield Wednesday FC, the Panini Swap Shop, which is a great opportunity that we've been afforded to in sort of collaboration with the club, an opportunity to get down and do a bit of an event around the relaunch of the Panini stickers that have taken on the EFL League this season. So we're going down to the lounge next Wednesday, the 17th of December. We'll be there from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. down at the ground. We have got a couple of caveats, and if you've seen our social media, obviously we're going to continue to keep hammering this. But we're really excited about this. We've teamed up for the first ever Panini Swap Shop. He says, you can tell that I'm reading this from Dan's blurb. With the huge popularity of the new Panini EFL sticker book, we're giving young owls a chance to make a serious dent in filling their albums. So on Wednesday, 17th of December, we've linked up with the club, and they are going to be giving away 100 free sticker books and starter packs. So if you get yourself down to that event, here's what you can expect. You can expect merchandise to be there. You can expect a raffle. We're working on giveaways. The bar's going to be open. And I'm not going to drop any sort of bombshells, but the club have hinted at a very special guest that will be joining us down there next Wednesday. It's a great opportunity for kids that are starting with their sticker book collection, or if they want to continue to grow that sticker book collection, to get themselves down there. Here comes the fine print, the smart stuff, okay? And we do have to sort of emphasize these bits. For us as a podcast, working in collaboration to make sure we've got all health and safety ticked off and all the things that we need to do to make sure we are compliant, you are going to need to book yourself onto the event. And we've set up a Google form. It is a Google form, not a smart sheet, Dan calls it. It's a Google form, okay? The link is in all our posts. Jump online. It is important that the tickets are free, but you've got to book it in advance. So the number so that we know who's going to be there. It's going to be one giveaway book per child that attends on the day, and it is a family event. So kids need to be accompanied by adults. All the information that you need is on the form. If you go there and fill it in and register, I think we've got a max number. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is, so I'm not going to, but I know that we are north of 70 people, or we were mid-after this week. Today, we were north of 70 people on the first day this week of sort of sharing that. So they are going to go out. It is going to sell out, I would imagine. If you're interested, please don't sleep on it. Get yourself signed up. Get yourself down there as quickly as you can. It's going to be a great opportunity. Loads and loads of fun. Like we've said, refreshments, activities going on. The club are backing it, and expect some surprises potentially. That's where we are. Any other comments? Anything else that you want to know about the event? Please feel free to give us a shout on our socials. Drop us a DM, get in touch, drop us a text. You know where we are. You can find us on all of that good stuff. With that in mind, I'm going to just wish everybody travelling down to Watford a fantastic journey down tomorrow night. Lads, what are your predictions for tomorrow?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to work really hard for 55 minutes. They're going to concede a crap goal, and then we'll lose 1-0. And you'll say the same again next week. And you'll say the same.
I'll copy and paste that. I mean, we always, bar that one good effort from New at Vicarage Road, we're always a bit up and puff down there, don't we? I'd like to say we'd score, but I'm not convinced. So, a 2-0 loss. And I hate betting against Wednesday as well.
We're all on the summer.
We'll see. I'm going to save my predictions for the podcast predictions.
Right.
And we'll go from there. Guys, for those of you that are listening, apologies for what appears to be my crappy internet that's caused a few issues this evening. I hope you've managed to get through most of it. Apologies for those of you that have been hammering me. So sorry. I'm in between houses. Hopefully we'll get sorted sooner rather than later, but we'll have a look at where we are with that. Last plug. We have to do it every week at the moment. He's in the comments, Matt Davey. If you're over on Facebook, join his group. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? WAWAW. Loads of good stuff going on over there. Partnered up with us. He's helping us out no end in terms of giveaways and things like that. Craig Hayward has just also jumped in the comments. Guys, I've got tea to have yet. The last man standing went to the wire on Saturday. Both went out. We're on a rollover. It's largely going to be for the £10 re-entry for those people that are already in. If you the group want to come back and you've entered this time now for last man standing 7, you are welcome to join for £10. If you do want to join, you're more than welcome. Full disclosure, it is £20 to join to make sure we've got parity. At the minute, the price from there is around about £700, but I need to do some counting up, take my shoes and stuff to add up because I'm a PE teacher, not a maths teacher. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. You've given me an hour and a half of your evening. Thank you for tuning in as you always do. Great to hear some decent chat around the takeover stuff, around a game that never was, and talking about all things football shirts. I've been Stevie. God willing, I'll be back with a decent mic next week, as will Dan Fudge. I will see you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Going, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday Week. Join us.
Put on your pod